What if astral projection isn't mystical at all? What if it isn't a supernatural gift or an escape from the body reserved for rare people with unusual abilities? What if it's structured, mechanical, predictable, and governed by layers of consciousness operating beneath everyday awareness? For decades, people across cultures have described leaving their bodies, floating above their beds, traveling through walls, moving across landscapes that feel real, yet subtly different from physical reality. Most explanations frame these experiences in symbolic language. The soul leaves the body, the spirit ascends. The traveler enters higher realms, but these explanations describe outcomes, not mechanisms. They describe what it feels like, not how it works. One of the clearest structured attempts to explain astral projection treats it not as mysticism, but as a layered perceptual shift. Instead of a soul departing the body, this model proposes something more precise: a shift in perceptual dominance, a transfer of awareness, an interface change between layers of cognition. At the core of this framework is the concept of the energy body, not as metaphor, but as a functional layer of human perception. According to this model, the human system does not consist solely of flesh and neural activity. It includes a subtle perceptual layer that operates alongside the physical nervous system. This energy body functions as an interface, a secondary operating system capable of receiving and processing information outside the usual sensory bandwidth. When astral projection occurs, the body does not move. Consciousness does not travel through space in a literal sense. Awareness transfers from physical sensory processing to this secondary interface. Physical input is reduced. Non-physical perception increases. Attention stabilizes in a different layer of experience. And wherever attention stabilizes, identity follows. This explains why the experience feels real. Awareness is fully present within that perceptual layer. But if this is true, then astral projection is not about leaving the body. It is about shifting operating systems. Many who attempt projection report a transitional phase before separation occurs. Vibrations, a rising internal hum, auditory distortions, sleep paralysis, pressure sensations, visual flashes behind closed eyes. This transitional state has been described as a threshold, a buffer zone between physical sensory dominance and non-physical perception. It is unstable and frequently interrupted by fear. Within this model, fear is not mystical resistance. It is neurological anchoring. Fear pulls awareness back toward the physical body. It restores physical sensory dominance, and the projection attempt collapses. But when fear is managed, awareness stabilizes beyond this threshold, and the separation sensation occurs, not as a soul lifting upward, but as identity relocating. Reports across cultures are strikingly consistent. The vibrational phase, the moment of detachment, the sense of floating, the ability to move without muscular effort, the presence of environments that feel both real and subtly altered. Consistency suggests pattern. Pattern suggests mechanism, and mechanism invites investigation. This framework also introduces astral cartography. Instead of describing the astral state as chaotic fantasy, it proposes structure, layers, zones, gradations of clarity. Some regions feel nearly identical to the physical world. Bedrooms that look unchanged, streets that resemble waking reality. Other regions appear less stable, symbolic, influenced by thought and emotion. The key insight is that the astral state may not be a place. It may be a perceptual bandwidth interacting with cognition. In such a system, expectation shapes clarity, emotion shapes density, Belief shapes encounter. This would explain why individuals report similar structures, yet differing details. The architecture may be stable, but the filters are personal. This intersection between psychology and perception is critical, because it reframes astral projection from mystical travel into layered cognition. Consider dreaming. Entire environments are generated internally, yet experienced as real. Now imagine a state combining dream cognition with waking awareness. Awareness remains stable, but the environment is fluid. This hybrid model could explain the vivid realism reported during projection. Another practical element of this framework involves tactile imaging. Instead of relying purely on visualization, it emphasizes generating subtle sensation, feeling movement, stimulating energy flow, engaging non-physical touch. This tactile focus appears to activate the energy body more reliably than imagination alone. If projection is a transfer of embodiment, then stimulating subtle sensation gives awareness something to lock onto. This makes astral projection less about fantasy and more about sensory transference. Shifting the internal body map. The body does not move. The seat of perception moves, and identity follows it. Whether interpreted neurologically, psychologically, or metaphysically, the reported mechanics remain consistent. The threshold, the separation, the layered environments, the emotional gravity. Dismissing it entirely ignores pattern. Blindly accepting it prevents investigation. But studying it as a structured perceptual system opens a different possibility. Astral projection may not be mystical chaos. It may be an interface event. And interfaces imply systems. Systems imply architecture. And architecture implies something structured enough to explore. The real question is not whether astral projection is real. The real question is what system we are interacting with when awareness shifts beyond ordinary sensory constraints. If consciousness can stabilize beyond the physical interface, what else is already there?